Hey everybody, welcome to another lesson of learning Japanese. We are going to cover another grammar pattern in this video, and the grammar pattern that we are going to cover is the one that is blank wake ni wa ikanai to mean must or must not blank, or it's impossible to blank, or can't afford to blank, etc. So this is going to be our most recent video in the wake series, in which we cover the word wake, which is pretty complex, and the grammar patterns that are kind of based on it in their construction. In previous videos, I pointed out that you probably need to start from the beginning to understand the most recent one, because we established a lot of contextual information that we reference, but this grammar pattern in particular, wake ni wa ikanai, is kind of going to be the most detached wake grammar pattern, in that you might not need to know the stuff that we said in previous videos. So yeah, while I do recommend that you check out those other videos, not only because they're important and that they're more common grammar patterns, but you don't necessarily have to keep watching this one. So like I just said, this grammar pattern is going to translate to you must do something, you must not do something, you have no choice but to do something, it's impossible to do something. And the reason why I say it has the definitions of you must do something and you must not do something, which are kind of the opposites, it's because you can use this with basically a positive form verb or a negative form verb, and depending on which one, it'll alter which one you mean. So this grammar pattern actually has the same meaning as the grammar pattern, the te form of something plus wa ikenai, to mean must not do that, or it's not okay to do that, or basically the other definitions that I just stated for this grammar pattern. That is one of the most basic grammar patterns out there, so you probably should know that one by now. However, there is a difference between that and this grammar pattern, wake ni wa ikanai. It's just a difference, not in so much the meaning, but the reasons why you would use it. So this grammar pattern right here is much less common than te wa ikenai, probably due to the fact that it's considered more formal, but it's also going to express a stronger emphasis than te wa ikenai. Of course, also worth noting here is that this grammar pattern uses the phrasing ikanai as opposed to ikenai, so hopefully you aren't going to confuse that when you're using these two grammar patterns. There's the A one and there's the E. This one uses the A, which is kind of more unique than the E. And if we want to use the polite version of this, of course the ikanai will turn into ikimasen. So let's go through the construction now with the other grammar pattern, the te wa ikenai. Of course, you're going to be using the te form of a verb, or kind of the te form of the negative form of a verb, to mean you must not do that verb, or you must do that verb if you're using the negative form of a verb because of the double negative there. However, when we're using this grammar pattern, instead of the te forms of whatever, we're actually just going to use either the dictionary form of a verb or the negative nai form of a verb. And so when we use the dictionary form of a verb, that means must not do that verb, and when we use the negative nai form of the verb, it means must do that verb. And of course, the reason why it ends up as a negative if we're using a positive verb and vice versa is because the nature of the phrasing ikanai or ikenai is negative. So it's kind of like a negative or a double negative. So basically, if we use a positive verb, that means it's not okay to do that verb, which means must not do that verb. And if we're using a negative verb, we're saying it's not okay to not do that verb, which naturally just double negative turns into positive, so must do that verb. And of course, like I said earlier, there are alternative translations other than must not do that verb. We can also coin it as can afford to do or impossible to do, and we'll get a better feel of that when we jump into the example sentences, which we'll actually do right now. Okay, so for our first example sentence, we're gonna take a sentence that we did in the video lesson for te wa ikenai and adapt it a bit to this one. And oh yeah, I forgot to note, if you haven't watched that video, you should, because it's so basic and you should definitely know it by now. In any case, our example sentence right now is going to be Imoto wa hitori de uchi ni imasu kara masugu kitaku shinai wake ni wa ikanai. And so that line right there is going to translate to, my little sister is at home alone right now, so I must go straight home. So let's break down this sentence bit by bit. First up, we have the word imoto, which is going to translate to little sister. We have the particle wa, marking her as the topic of the sentence. We have the phrasing hitori de, which is just going to mean alone or by oneself. Then we have uchi ni imasu. Uchi means house or home. The ni is marking it as the location, and the imasu is the existential verb iru, which means to be, basically. So she is at home alone. We're going to slap on the conjunction kara right there because we want to say because. So because she's at home alone. And now our second clause is going to be the thing that is going to be done because she's at home alone, and it's going to contain our grammar pattern, and it's going to be masugu kitaku shinai wake ni wa ikanai. Massugu is going to mean basically straight. Kitaku is going to be part of the verbal noun kitaku suru, which means basically to return home. We are going to want to conjugate suru into its nai form because we want that meaning for this grammar pattern. So suru turns into shinai. And now, since this is in its negative form like we want, we can just slap on wake ni wa ikanai. And so then, kitaku shinai wake ni wa ikanai, that double negative right there is going to then translate to must return. Slap that on with the rest of the sentence, then we are going to have my little sister is at home alone right now, so I have to return home right away. 妹は一人で家にいますから、まっすぐ帰宅しないわけにはいかない. For our next example sentence, we are gonna do one where the translation of the grammar pattern わけにはいかない is more gonna naturally translate to it's not possible to as opposed to must do. And so our line is gonna be pretty short. It's just gonna be この贈り物を受け取るわけにはいきません. So this is going to be a pretty formal as well as polite line, and it's going to translate to it's not possible for me to accept this gift, or I can't accept this gift. Kind of just this polite statement where they're expressing they're polite and not literally that they aren't able to accept something. So first up, let's break this down word by word. First up, we have kono, which means this. It's going to be modifying the noun right after it, which is okurimono, which means present basically. We are going to mark okurimono with the direct object marker o because it's the direct object to a verb action, which is going to be uketoru, which means basically to accept. Uketoru here is in its dictionary form, and we want to use this verb with the grammar pattern wake ni wa ikanai, and we can just do that now because the dictionary form is a perfectly capable form of using it with this grammar pattern. So now we'll just slap that on. Wake ni wa ikanai. However, we're going to use the polite form, which is ikimasen. And so, like I said, the translation of the grammar pattern wake ni wa ikimasen will most appropriately translate to it's not possible to or can't in the sentence, so we'll do just that. This whole line will then translate to it's not possible for me to accept this gift. この贈り物を受け取るわけにはいきません. So yeah, hopefully you get an idea of how this sentence is working not only grammatically in that he's saying, well, it's not possible for me to accept this gift, but kind of like the intention behind the usage of this grammar pattern. It's polite, it's formal, and yeah, the reason why he might be saying this is because, oh, maybe it's too expensive, so he's expressing how it's not possible for him to accept such an expensive gift or something like that. Now for our next example, we're going to move on to the next kind of possible translation that's most appropriate for this grammar pattern, and we'll do the can't afford to. So for our example sentence, we have 彼はこのチームのエースだ。辞めさせるわけにはいけないよ. And this line right here is going to translate to something along the lines of he is the ace of this team, or he's the best player on this team. We can't afford to let him quit. So let's break down the first sentence first, of course. So first up, we have 彼, which means he or him. Particle wa to mark he or him as the topic of the sentence. Very basic stuff here. Kono team. Kono means this. Chimu means team. Chim is going to be part of a noun and noun modification. Of course, it's acting as the first one, and the second one is the other word ace, which is going to translate to ace. So the ace is team. And we end the sentence right there with da. So 彼はこのチームのエースだ is going to mean he is the ace of the team, or he's the best player on the team. And now for our second sentence, we'll use our grammar pattern, and it is going to be used with the causative form of the verb yameru, which means to stop, so or to quit. So yame saseru. And that's going to translate to let quit, not make quit, because the causative form can translate to either to make do the verb or to let do the verb. In this case, it's let do the verb. So yame saseru, to let quit. Then we use this here with our grammar pattern wake ni wa ikanai because we want to say must not let quit or can't afford to let quit. And so we just plug on wake ni wa ikanai, and then we add that yo at the end for the nuance of yo as a sentence ending particle, and then so the sentence then translates to he's the best player on the team. We can't afford to let him quit. 彼はこのチームのエースだ。辞めさせるわけにはいかないよ. Let's cover one last example sentence, and so for our line we have 僕は指名運転者だから酔うわけにはいかない. This line right here is going to translate to I am the designated driver, so I can't afford to get intoxicated. Let's break down the sentence bit by bit. First up, we have boku, which is going to mean me or I. Particle wa marking I as the topic of the sentence. We have the word shime untensha, which is going to translate to designated driver. We have the copula da to end that statement, and then the conjunction kara to mean because. So because I am the designated driver, boku wa shime untensha dakara. So we have our reason. Now let's just state our thing to the reason, which is going to contain our grammar pattern, and that's just simply going to be yo wake ni wa ikanai. This is going to be the verb yo, which is going to translate to basically to get drunk or to get intoxicated. That's the dictionary form form of it, and that's exactly what we need to use with this grammar pattern. And so now what we can do is just plug in wake ni wa ikanai right after it, exactly what we do. And so then to get drunk will then translate to must not get drunk or can't afford to get drunk. And then the whole sentence in turn is now, since I'm the designated driver, I can't afford to get intoxicated. 僕は指名運転者だから酔うわけにはいかない. And okay, that is going to be our last example sentence using this grammar pattern. Blank wake ni wa ikanai to mean must do something or must not do something or can't afford to do something or impossible to do something even though one may want to. And if you need some more example sentences, we have some more in the description or of course on our post on our official website. So check that out if you need some more. I think this might wrap it up with our coverage of wake and the grammar patterns that form from it. So if you haven't watched the previous ones in this series, I definitely recommend them. All of the ones before this one are probably more important than this video lesson because this grammar pattern wake ni wa ikanai is pretty uncommon, but still, of course, definitely good to know. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed your time doing so. If you'd like to express that, you can like the video, leave a comment below, or subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to support more of these video lessons, or support more of these video lessons being created more often, or support more types of videos, please do consider checking out our Patreon page and consider becoming a patron there. Also included on the screen right now are, of course, a bunch of links on where to find and follow us elsewhere online, including our official website. And lastly, check out our Discord server. We've got a community of hundreds of people learning Japanese just there. So if you're looking for somebody to voice chat with just to practice speaking Japanese, or you have a quick question that needs a quick answer, or if you just want to talk about anime or music or manga or other Japanese things, learn Japanese.becauseofdreams.com/Discord. And with that, see you next time.